have no idea what this is, Jaybe.
Just stick with it. Hey.
What?
Doobie-dee-doo. 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 Boom! There it is. Okay. Welcome. Hi. How are you? Good to see you. It's been a while. It's been a week. Welcome to the Sabby and Jaybe show. My name is Jaybe. This is my wonderful, brilliant, amazing co-host, Sabby Sabs. Say hey, Sabs.
What's going on, Jaybe? What's up, everyone?
You see her with the patterns on. She's bringing it. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood to you. I love it. Next thing you know, she's gonna walk in. She's gonna take off her shoes and put on some loafers.
Listen, that was one thing I did learn from Mr. Rogers. Like, I used to watch Mr. Rogers when I was a kid, and I still like would practice that. Like, as I became an adult, like I would get home from work, take off the shoes, take off the work clothes, and I would put on my comfy stuff. And I got that from Mr. Rogers.
Yep.
Mr.
Fred Rogers was the man. Yeah. Oh man. I remember watching that as a kid. That was wonderful. Good times. Anywho, welcome to the Sabby and Jaybe show. We have the Sabby and Jaybe show every single Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here on RBN. And thank you so much to all the viewers, those of you who are supporters of us. Without you guys, we would not be able to do this. Also, thank you to the Patreon supporters as well. Without you guys, we would not be able to keep the lights on, literally. Also, if you are new, please make sure to give us that beautiful, beautiful thumbs up. That actually sends it out into the algorithm, into the space, and lets people know that we are live and you guys can come in and watch us. And it gets more eyes so that we can talk about these things a little bit more often to a little bit more people. Now, as per usual, let's say hi to the people, Sabs.
Yay.
The people. Zayden says, looking forward to this one. Don't forget that Michael Eric Dyson did to Cornel West. I'm kind of curious. I don't really know exactly what did he do to Cornel West. Zayden, tell me in the chat.
I don't know either. I'm going to look that up because I'm curious too.
Yeah, because I'm curious. Because, okay, so I do know that Michael Eric Dyson and, oh my God, he looks like the bird from Peanuts.
Oh shoot!
Al Sharpton. Yeah. So Michael Eric Dyson and Al Sharpton had a debate had a debate with Tavis Smiley and Dr. Cornel West, and they were basically Michael Eric Dyson and Al Sharpton were on the side of basically, Obama's the first black president. We have to give him a chance. He can't do really. It was almost kind of like he can't do no wrong. And then Dr. Cornel West and Tavis Smiley were on the other side. Like, wait a minute. We've seen what these brothers has done. For the most part, when it comes to, who he has in his upcoming cabinet, we're not too sure about this guy. And so there was a debate between them. So it's just interesting. So that's what I do know. Anything outside of that, I'm not exactly sure, but yeah, we'll see. Let us know, Zayden.
Okay, I found a video where I can show about that.
Oh, do you want to show it right now, or
no? Go ahead. I'm gonna pick one because there's so many.
Okay, all right. Both parties are traitors. Says please like. Yes, please like. Look. See, the spirit of CJ is upon us, and you want him to smile with approval on all of you. Make sure to give us a like. Thank you so very much. Tiberius Monk says, yo, yo, yo. Yeah, MTV Raps. Good to see you. All right. Swearing Fairy Bestie says, K, but why y'all gotta be so damn cute all the time? Thank you. Oh, thank you so very much. All right. Waddy is in the chat saying, hey, everybody. Good to see you, Waddy. All right. Gamer for Life says, hello. He says, hi, Sabby and Jaybe. All right. Gamers up in the chat. Roger Meadows says, not feeling good, but hanging in there. Oh, man, Roger. Dude, just chill, relax, listen, just feel better. Our hearts go out to you. Much love and solidarity. Take care, bro. All right. Real talk. Who else? We have Vermont Brad Smith says Neil deGrasse Tyson, Branch COVID. Look, I ain't got much to say. Look, he's a smart guy. He is an astrophysicist, but even astrophysicists and even scholars can be propagandized. That's all I'm going to say. He shot on West. Oh, really? Uh-oh. Tiberius Monk says, thank you for the super chat. Says, two of the best podcasters in the business are back, Sabby and Jaybe. Thank you. Thank you so much. No algorithm, no YouTube BS can stop this dynamic duo. Now, back to the stream. I love it. Thank you so very much, Tiberius. Oh, for not supporting Hillary? Wait, you hold on. You mean to tell me that Michael Eric Dyson went after Dr. Cornel West because Dr. Cornel West chose not to support Hillary Clinton? Is that where he's going? We'll get to that. Oh, we'll get to. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna start that because we're gonna come back to your comment because I want to talk about that. Thank you for letting me know. We do a couple more. Oh yeah. Dyson defended Obama. West critiqued him. Yeah. Child of God says Sadducees and Pharisees they are. Yep. The inside of the cup is dirty, but the outside of the cup is clean, right? I know what I'm talking about. He smeared Dr. Cornel West because he was critical of Obama. Joseph Bett says Neil deGrasse Tyson is such a disappointment. I used to love his books, and they really are an interesting read. I can't believe he went full lib. Yikes, man. Woo. Zombie in the air is in the chat saying, Sabby, Jaybe. All right. Lamb T says, greetings from the UK. This channel is internationally necessary. Keep it up, guys. Thank you, Lamb T. All right. Carrie Scott, Jaybe, we need free healthcare like the fire department now. Medicare sucks. Love you and Sabby. Okay, by the way, Carrie, I saw you in a particular chat of a particular channel that had Marianne Williamson on, and I agree with you, by the way, just to let you know. But yes, in fact, I think we need a nationalized healthcare system, not just Medicare for all. I think we need to have full nationalization so that we do not get gypped by these hospitals that thrive on private profits and by these other places that thrive on just for-profit motive. So I definitely agree with you. I'll take it even further for nationalized healthcare. Thank you so very much, Carrie Scott. Good to see you as always. I'm going to do a couple more because we got like 30 seconds left. Let me see who else do we got in the chat. Oh, wait. Hang on. Oh, you found it? Oh, Lord. Okay. All right. I got it up. Thanks, Sabs. You are a real one. She's black. Sorry. 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 It was like you start talking.
Some of the most smartest people in the world can be bought. That is true. That is very true. Very true.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, 13th disciple says, true simps for the Democrats. Oh, Rick, you see what we about to talk about. Good to see you, Rick. I knew you had to be in for this one. All right. Hasbin says, hello, my love doves. Love doves. Let me stop. All right, so we're gonna stop right there. Everybody else, if I didn't get to say hello to you, my apologies. Hello, but we definitely have to get into this because, well, we got a lot to talk about. You want to start off with this first, Sabs, the one that you sent me?
Go ahead. Like it's
okay.
This is Michael Eric Dyson responding to, I guess, people asking him why he criticized Cornel West. So this is the response, and it seemed like this was some type of assembly that he was speaking at. So yeah, you can go ahead and start it.
All right, let's go.
The role of the Black intelligentsia, and I bring the context Cornel West. I've read a lot of articles where you, Reverend Al Sharpton, Melissa Harris Perry, and others were criticized as quote-unquote defenders of the Obama administration. In fact, words like sold their souls and so forth were used to describe you. Can you put in context, do you think there is a misunderstanding of the role of the Black intelligentsia in the Obama era in terms of what you do, what Cornel West does, and what the others do?
Cornel West was my teacher. He signed my dissertation at Princeton. For him to go on TV and call me a sellout was extremely painful. And I didn't notice him using that kind of vicious criticism against Clinton when he was in the Clinton White House. I'm just saying.
Go ahead.
In his own book, he talks about staying up late one night with Hillary and with the daughter, Chelsea, in the Oval Office talking about his book, Race Matters. Ain't nobody hating on you when you did it.
That's right. Exactly.
So why you got to now all of a sudden, because you're in decline and on the outs?
Yeah.
Right? See, when an R&B singer quits at the top of his craft to serve Jesus, that's one thing.
Come on now.
When you ain't hitting no more and all of a sudden you get converted, I got a little question. I ain't saying it ain't real, but converting in prison is one thing. Converting when you're at the top of your skills is another.
That's right.
So I think it's rather interesting. It's not that you don't have, there's no legitimate criticism. How are you going to call me a sellout against somebody? You've heard the stuff I said the other day. I'm barely a sellout, but I'm balancing my critique. I'm not going to call the man names. West said he wanted to slap Obama upside his head. What the hell is wrong with you, sir?
That's right. That's right.
Don't you get the history of attacks on black bodies?
That's right.
That you would never do? Let me give an example. When my book on Bill Cosby came out, the first version.
Sabby. Wait. What? Go ahead, please.
I'm sorry. So to give people some context, this video was uploaded 7 years ago. Okay. So let's point something out here. Notice how he's quick to run cover for Barack Obama. You know, again, that same type of energy. Again, you got to remember, this was over 7 years ago. Some people still had a lot of, Obama like fever. And so he's basically criticizing Cornel West because Cornel West criticized Barack Obama, heavily criticized Barack Obama. So he is feeding into that same notion that a lot of people have done, especially African Americans that praise or continue to love Barack Obama, is this idea that you can't really criticize Barack Obama because he was the first Black president. So you can't cross that line. Now, Dyson goes on to say that he's been critical of Obama too, but notice there's a certain line that he doesn't want you to cross when it comes to that criticism. And he said Cornel West was his teacher. Cornel West signed his dissertation. So that's who you learned from. I have so much more to say about Michael Eric Dyson, but go ahead, Jaybe.
Look, that whole I want to slap him upside the head and linking that to black on black violence. Do you know how many people said they want to slap me upside the head? They said it in love. So now you're going outside the black community saying, oh, well, that's black on black violence. Now you sound like a white professor that don't even know anything about black community. Which one is it? Dr. Dyson? Which one is it? Because my thing is like, no, when he said I want to slap Obama upside the head, we were like, yeah. Because Obama needed to be slapped upside the head, right? We weren't talking about in a violent manner, right? But why are you making it sound like that? Now, don't get me wrong. I have my criticism of Dr. Cornel West because I feel like Dr. Cornel West really needs to lead the Democratic Party. That one being said. But also, you do too, Dr. Dyson. But my thing is why are you going to sit here and then critique somebody for? And here's the thing. You don't think that Dr. Cornel West didn't grow after seeing the Clinton administration? I mean, he could have. He could have seen what Clinton did and then said, you know what? Obama's being just like Clinton, so I don't want that.
Well, you know what else he said, JB? He said he criticized Cornel West because Cornel West was writing books. You know who else? You know who else has written books? Michael Eric Dyson.
Yeah.
Books. So it's just like, what are you talking about?
Like, bruh.
It's okay for him to do it, but it's not okay for. Did you see the problem, JB? Like, make this make sense to me. Like, seriously, I think the difference is Cornel West woke up. Yes, Cornel West at one point may have loved the Clintons. Look, at one point, I thought Bill Clinton was pretty legit. Like, we did. All, like, have our own like growth period and our own political awakening. So Michael Eric Dyson is criticizing Cornel West for having that political awakening. Make it make sense.
Let's go. God. Jeez Louise.
They presented to me was a COSBR, and in the old they had Cosby's face, and then they had his head like a tea kettle going. I said, heck no. I am never going to challenge the integrity physically of another black human being.
That's right.
Even for the sake of selling books, because it signifies lynching and murder and stabbing and hurting, and I'm not with that.
Right.
The white brothers and sisters who were with, we don't say. I said, but I see it.
Right.
So I'm not going to stand by this. My book with my name, that's what I stand by.
That's right.
So when West goes, I wanted to slap him upside his head. Slow down. When he calls him he calls Sharpton a plantation Negro. He says that I sold my soul for the sake of Obama access. I've been critical of Obama all along.
You know what? He's been critical just enough so that he would still have that access, though. I think that's the point that Cornel West is trying to make there. And I think, I'm sorry, but what he said about Al Sharpton is true.
Yes.
It's true. There's a reason why Al Sharpton's on MSNBC. You don't see Cornel West with a spot on MSNBC. Come on, wake up, people.
Fox News will invite Cornel West on before MSNBC invites a Cornel West on. CNN invites him on, but MSNBC, they're like, no, you're a little too critical of the Democratic Party. And they're like, poo-poo, go away. But yeah, they'll bring on Michael Eric Dyson on MSNBC. Why? Ask the question.
Michael Eric Dyson, to me, is similar to Robert Reich in the respect that both of them are phenomenal at explaining to you what the problems are. They're great with that. Michael Eric Dyson can go on any show and he can list problem after problem, especially when it comes to problems within the African-American community. He can list them all off. But then at the end of the day, both of them still tell you to vote for the Democratic Party. They don't take you out of the oppression. They don't take you out of the party that is continuing to make Black people believe that they're fighting for Black people and they're not. They keep you in it. And the same thing with Robert Reich. Robert Reich will tell you all the problems with the economy. Yeah. He'll sit up here and tell you that the rich continue to get rich and the poor get poor, but then he'll still tell you to vote for Hillary Clinton. Hell, Robert Reich a couple months ago was telling people he hopes that Liz Cheney would run for the Republican ticket for 2024. because he'd rather have her in office. These people are not serious about getting people out of oppression. They want you to stay within the same status quo that has existed for all time. This is why they're not serious. Period.
I mean, that's like a house Negro going, look, everything's bad. This is, they're whipping you. You live in substandard conditions, all this other stuff. This is horrible. And as soon as we make a plan to leave the master and actually flee, they're like, wait, hold up, Williamson. I don't know if that's a good idea because, the master likes to get up at 2 a.m. He might see you and blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yeah, no, but
or it might be worse, or you leave. Or what are you going to do if you leave?
Yeah,
those kinds of things. It's just they don't. There's no improvement here. So if he's going to criticize Cornel West for like writing all these books, look up. Everybody Google Michael Eric Dyson so you can see how many books that he sold.
Let's go on, Sabby. He's got more to say.
That's right.
I stood there and said Obama's not Pharaoh, but not Moses, but Pharaoh. But I'm not going to call Obama names because he's still a black man.
That's
he's still a human being.
That's right.
And I don't notice Cornel West, Jesus ever calling anybody names. And then I don't notice.
Serpents, offspring of vipers.
Wait a minute, but
you called that to the Pharisees. So guess what? Jesus did call names. I'm sorry. I am not a doctor. I do not have a PhD, and yet I can, off the top of my head, I preached for almost 20 years, door to door, and so I just came off the top of my head. So what are you talking about, Dr. Dyson?
Wasn't Jezebel a name to describe prostitutes in the Bible? What is he talking about? Also, why is he comparing Cornel West to Jesus?
What? Oh, Lord.
When did Cornel West say he was like Jesus?
Yo, I had no idea I'd be watching this particular video, but this one got me hyped. Like, what? Oh, my goodness. Do you really want to go? Let's go. This is crazy. We can't even. We're only not even 3 minutes in.
I don't know what to say.
I know how Nick and CJ be feeling sometimes with these videos. I'm telling you.
It's probably a good thing Nick and CJ aren't on this one.
Yeah, Nick and CJ don't need to be on for this because their blood pressure will be through the roof with this one. Oh my Lord. Oh my God.
As Martin Luther King Jr., even when you get the wire tapes, he can say these crackers over here are crazy.
That's right.
Even on the record, right? Even on the telephone.
That's right.
Right? That would be the difference between me and Dr. Adams. Now, Dr. Adams' FBI tapes all clean. Me, not so much. Right? Now, here's my point, though. Martin Luther King Jr., at the height of white supremacy, never demonized even white people who murdered black people in the way that Cornel West has attacked both Obama and Melissa Harris Perry. He's done some unprincipled stuff with Melissa, talking about her tenure file at Princeton. That is not only immoral, it may be illegal.
Sabby, I see you.
Sorry, but these examples that he's using, why is he trying to compare Cornel West to Jesus, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and for him to say, well, Dr. Martin Luther King didn't even demonize white people, Malcolm X did. Why isn't he using that example? If I was honestly sitting here thinking, if CJ was on the stream right now, CJ would probably be like, this is coon-like behavior.
He'd be like, this is coon behavior.
He'd lead it to the microphone.
I'm trying to purse my words carefully, but CJ, Nick, and Rome, if they were on this stream right now, oh Lord. Yeah. eardrums would be blown out by now because they'd be like, "What the hell?" I can't. Look, I hope they're watching though.
Nick would be like,
scream.
he's like, this guy's an Uncle Tom.
Let's go, because we got more to go. Got only halfway over.
To discuss those situations. Coming at me, I'm a big boy. Don't bark up that tree. That tree might bark on you. That tree might fall on you. So I kept my powder because I know he's egging for a fight. Because again, he said all the Negroes on MSNBC are sellouts, and then Martin Bashir told me he kept calling them trying to get on the show.
Because they are. Wait, because they are. Hold up. Mm-hmm. They are. And the thing is, you're not addressing how, in a way, you're not even addressing, you're just saying that it's false, but you're not explaining exactly how. Like, what?
Mm-hmm.
Oh golly, man. Okay. Gosh.
And maybe
I should have said that, but I did. So my point is simply this. It's unfortunate that an incredibly gifted man like Cornel West with a legacy that was astonishing has in his later days declined with such ignoble gracelessness that he has descended into the valley of name calling as opposed to the superior arguments that can be made to persuade human beings that their practices are wrong. So I'm saying this and then I'll be quiet, then you come back. So for me, it's not that you can't be critical, because I have been. It's not that you can't say things. Look, I said it to Obama to his face. I was in the White House, in the East Room, and Tom Joyner said, Dr. Dyson, I cannot believe that you're going to write a book against Obama. Obama's sitting right across from you, literally. And Tom Joyner said, I can't believe you're going to write a book that is critical of the president in the year that he's running again. And I said, are you Nostradamus? Because I ain't wrote the book yet. So, number one. Number two, since you Nostradamus, how many books I'm going to sell so I can know how much I'm going to get? And then Obama started laughing. Obama said, yeah, and he's sitting there eating my food. But I'm Mike Dyson. You ain't good as me. So I shot back, paid for it by tax money. I said, and based on that, I'm gonna be here next week. He laughs, because Obama got a good sense of humor. You talk Obama one-on-one, he said, how you doing, Mr. President? I'm cool, I'm just trying to represent. That's what he said. Now, I wish he could show some of that in public, but here's my point. To his face, I said, I disagree. And he said, Dyson disagrees with me. I can take that. That's principal criticism. He said, what I don't like is when people calling me, I don't love black people, and calling me names. Now we know who he was talking about. Because I said to his face that day in the White House, on the record, it's in a book now by, I forget his name, I'll remember it in a little while, Jonathan Alter, in the second book, where I said, that if you go to the emergency ward, you don't get medicine. You get medicine targeted towards your ill. If you have a hangnail, you get aspirin. If you have cancer, you get chemotherapy. If you have diabetes, you get insulin. So I said, Mr. President, your notion of a rising tide lifts all boats to me doesn't address the specificity of the argument and the need for medicine directed toward particular people.
That's right.
He said, I agree. Okay, that's fine. I disagree. I believe this to be universal, but I'm not calling him names. I ain't dogging him out. I ain't talking about his mama or anything like that. Whereas West won't.
I'm sorry, I have to say two things really quick here. First thing is this. He is bragging about the fact that he was in the White House and talked to Obama to his face. I think we all need to sit back and ask, why was he allowed to be in that space to begin with? Because he's not seen as a threat. He's not a threat to the establishment. He's not a threat to the status quo. He is not a threat to the elite. That's why he's allowed to be there. And someone like Cornel West is not allowed to be there. Two, just because he chooses to criticize someone in a particular manner, that doesn't mean that everybody else is going to follow Michael Dyson's playbook. People express themselves in different ways. And to be honest, from what I remember, Cornel West calling Obama a name, that was the last resort. That was after he had already tried to be very polite towards the things that Barack Obama was doing. So no, you don't get to be the gatekeeper of criticism, Michael Dyson. Who do you think you are?
Yeah. And mind you, look, Dr. Cornel West, hindsight's always 20/20, right? So Then after the Obama administration, or should I say regime, because every single presidency sent, for a long, ever since, is always a regime. But you think about it, and you look at the articles, Black wealth tanked under Obama.
Mm-hmm.
Love for Black people, where'd that go? Where that? Because I don't feel no love. My mama don't feel no love. My brothers don't feel no love. My grandma don't feel no love, right? Where the love at? Because we don't feel it, right? J.P. Morgan felt that love. Bank of America felt that love. Was it these other big banks? They felt the love, man. We didn't feel no love. What happened to us? Because everybody keeps going, oh, he's the first Black president. But the thing is, he may have been the first Black president, but he didn't operate as the first Black president. He did not operate as such. What did he do for us? Reparations what? Reparations who? Guess what? Never happened. Never even got talked about. So, Dr. Dyson really needs to purchase his words carefully. Gosh. All right, let's finish this.
Supposed to get in there because part of it is, there's a kind of displacement feeling among some Negroes that believe that had Obama not risen to the degree he has, Black people would be so in love with Obama, and they are. You got to deal with that. That's just the reality.
That's right.
Black folk love Obama.
That's right.
But that was based on what we didn't know about him. Now, if you come to us and go, do you love Obama? A lot of us will go, Because the thing is that when it came time for him to truly act, what did he do? He went to the corporate side. He didn't, oh, damn it, Jaybe. Just let it go.
That's good. And they love Obama, and you got to acknowledge that. You got to understand why they love Obama. Now, even if you disagree with that, you got to understand that. I understand that. And I happen to love him myself. But I also have criticism for him. But it's not vicious criticism. It's not nasty criticism. It's what I said today. Critical thought. I'm not going to take it because you're the president. Let me engage you. He talks to me. He disagrees with me. We go back and forth. That's different than being called a sellout, because now we want to use our skills in deployment for the defense of Obama without defending Black people. Obama is a Black person, but he's not all Black people. Black people are more precious than any individual Black person we could represent, that we could generate. And I understand that. So I think the Cornel West is, and I'm writing something on it now, and you'll see more about that when it comes out. I think it's an unfortunate decline. I think he feels displaced. I think he feels marginal. And I think he feels that somehow he's got to do anything, get arrested in Ferguson to get back in the paper.
Look, Obama isn't just some dude that you can disagree with based on policy and then you guys just go your separate ways. He's not. This man is literally the commander-in-chief of our armed forces. This man turned 2 wars into 7 wars. Guess what?
Why is he also talking about it as though Obama doesn't know better? Barack Obama went to Harvard Law School. Okay, let's break this down. Barack Obama went to Columbia University. He went to Harvard Law School. He was a lawyer. He was a local, he was a state politician before he was, president of the United States. Barack Obama knows exactly what he's doing.
Yep.
And I feel like Michael Eric Dyson, I felt like he was trying to explain it to Obama in such a way as if Barack Obama is not aware. Barack Obama is very much aware.
He is. Very well aware.
Sus.
Yep. Very deeply sus. Because it's just like you said, like he was allowed in the room. Why was he allowed in the room? It wasn't just because he smiled nicely and said please. It's because just like in manufacturing consent, even Michael Parenti talked about it, is that they know that people like that will not push against and threaten power. That's why you're invited into those rooms. This is why some people are invited on to work in these corporate media outlets. It's because they don't threaten power.
That's right. I mean, if they wouldn't allow Cornel West there, they wouldn't allow us to be there.
Well,
think about this. Like Cornel West, academic author, if they won't let him be there, you think they would let us be there? No.
Nope. So,
not with the question you would ask.
No. All right. Let me go over some of some chats really quick first. Danny says Sharpton was a big time dope dealer in Harlem in the 80s. Ooh, I didn't know that. Interesting. Devotion Orange said, did y'all see the debate with Glenn Ford and Michael Eric Dyson? No, I did not, but I'm sure that was pretty interesting. Let me see. SG says, when I was teaching black students, we're so excited that he wanted to skip class to attend Obama's inauguration. See, Properly Smug says, what is the price of a man's soul? Child of God says, the publicity is worth more. He's eating off the Obama years. Wow. Joe OWS says Obama stripped Americans of their constitutional rights and they didn't even know it. Obama NDAA, that's the National Defense Authorization Act, by the way, of 2012 included the rescinding of the right of habeas corpus as well as posse comitatus. Yep.
This isn't even the worst of it, though. Wait till you see the video that the other video we're showing about what we were planning to talk about. But then someone mentioned it in the chat that he criticized Cornel West, and we were like, what is happening?
Yeah. Now that was the appetizer. Now it's time for the main course. Baby, let's go. This is why I have Marc Lamont Hill on this. Oh, hang on. Dang it, Jaybe. Come on, get it together, brother. All right. Share the screen. All right, let's go. This is on the griot, by the way.
Welcome back to the griot. This is Mark. I am joined by Dr. Michael Eric Dyson. He's been talking to us tonight about everything from religion to pop culture. Doc, I got to ask you a little bit about politics as well. We were just talking about the blogosphere and the role of social media. It seems to me that there's a whole universe out there that gets its politics from social media as well. And in that space, people like Candace Owens have become giants. In that space, we see a kind of Black Republican movement. We see folk who don't believe the world is round. I mean, all this stuff operates. I mean, it seems like there's a whole other community of knowledge that didn't exist before. Is it dangerous?
Oh man, it's dangerous. You brilliantly summed it up. It's extremely dangerous. And speaking of misinterpretation, I'll say Kobe and I'll say Jesus is Lord. So what's interesting is so what's interesting is that what I was hinting at when I said like the Black Trumpism, I know that's kind of extreme and exaggerated, but it ain't really that exaggerated, because what's happening here is that we're giving up on traditional ways of knowing the world, which were themselves already shot through with all kind of contradictions and problems. But the difference is if you're getting your news from social media. Now, if social media is the delivery mechanism to download the Washington Post or the Nation or the Guardian or whatever progressive or conservative magazine you happen to be reading, that's one thing where they...
Okay, stop right there. First of all, he's like, well, it's cool if you download any of the corporate media sites that actually have also been the stenographers for the state, the stenographers for our foreign policy that has ruined other countries, the stenographers for our domestic policies that have given us austerity. That's okay. Is that okay? Have we seen what they've been putting out? Like, hell, look at the last 23 years, 22 years about, where the MSNBC was championing the Iraq War.
Mm-hmm.
And now we look back, we go, wait, y'all shouldn't have been doing that. In fact, they fired, what's his name? Phil Donahue, for going against the Iraq War.
Yep. Just like
So
that, Phil was gone.
Yeah. So you mean to tell me that we have to have this, it feels like he's saying this uncritical type of eye when it comes to these corporate media. And it's like, wait a minute, just because they have the credentials doesn't mean that they actually are truthful, right?
Right.
They may have some things that are correct, which we will point to sometimes, but there's other times where they may say something that's really propaganda for us to keep the same establishment the way it is.
Did he mention, he said Washington Post too, right? Did he say Washington Post? Could you send me the link to the video, JB, so I can share it on my end? Because I got volume booster because the volume's kind of low.
Oh, okay. Hang on.
Because I think if he said Washington Post, I mean, I've seen the Washington Post have to retract statements multiple times. So
yeah.
I don't know if you consider them trustworthy.
Yeah.
Okay, I got the link. And what's the timestamp on that?
It's 1:29.
Okay. Let me play.
Well, actually, if you want to go back a little bit to like I'd say 1:10.
Okay, 1:10. Because I got booster. And let me go ahead and share. Yeah.
Give me a boost.
Boost. Give me a G. G, you got your G. You got your
You
G.
got your G.
You got your
You got your E. You got your E. Do ya? Sorry.
All right, let me try to use the booster. I just got to play it to do it.
Okay.
All kind of contradictions and problems. But the difference is if you're getting your news from social media. Now, if social media is the delivery mechanism to download the Washington Post or the Nation or the Guardian or whatever progressive or conservative magazine you happen to be reading, that's one thing where they vetted these ideas, where journalists have been journalists and tried to look at trying to be as fair as possible. But you ain't got none of that kind of constraint going on in the world of the blogosphere. For instance, a Black woman was claiming that a white professor at the University of Idaho, I think it was responsible for the death of those 4 students at the University of Idaho. And 2 days later, they arrested a young man who was a PhD student in criminology at the University of Washington, not 10 miles from there. Now we don't know. Maybe this blogger has some deep inside knowledge that this professor was involved, but the professor has now sued her, saying you can't just make stuff up in the
you can't just tell people I killed 4 people, right? Like,
but she's doubling down. Oh, I know it. You won't prevail against me. So my point.
This point about him saying that people can't just make things up, I guess the point that I want to express is that, but mainstream media has been called out for doing that same thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they've had to retract stories.
Yeah. Rachel Maddow, anybody?
I mean, all those like commentators that pushed like Russiagate, did they come back and retract those statements, or were they given a pass because they're mainstream media?
Right. Don't get us started on the proxy war that's happening over there, with the country that starts with a U and rhymes with propane.
All right, here we go.
Mm-hmm.
Point is, yes, it's dangerous. And that is more, that kind of extremes people go, oh, we know about that. But no, it's the same thing. It's the same principle that regulates the distribution of knowledge and the assignment of the priority of what is higher or lower in the hierarchy. So when you're putting up higher stuff, I mean, it used to be it was bad. Oh my God, they're getting their news from Jon Stewart. Now that looks like I wish Jon Stewart was there to give him
Cronkite. He's like Walter Cronkite now compared.
JB, Jon Stewart is like Walter Cronkite.
I'm telling you right now, maybe he wouldn't have to be like Walter Cronkite to a lot of people if the actual corporate media actually did the job of telling the truth and being more honest about what the politicians were doing and what they weren't doing. And yet they continue to uncover for the politicians and for people who want to push austerity. So guess what? Then we have to turn to comedians like Jon Stewart, or those of us on the left, we may turn to people like Jimmy Dore or Ron Placone because they actually have more critical thought and accuracy than the corporate media. Maybe we wouldn't have to go to them. And what about going to Bill Maher, Michael Eric Dyson? What about going to him?
Well, Bill Maher has gotten several things wrong. Things wrong. Like it just, I mean, you want to call out social media, and don't get me wrong, like social media does get things wrong, from time to time as well when it comes to news. But Bill Maher, who has a huge platform, has gotten several things wrong.
Yes.
Jon Stewart, since he wants to point to him and say he's like Walter Cronkite, let's remember the interview that Jon Stewart had fairly recently, actually, with Hillary Clinton and Condoleezza Rice, where he was talking about foreign policy. And Jon Stewart got that wrong. Jon Stewart didn't push back on them at all. And that's the person they think that we should listen to?
I think it's just sad that they are like, oh, well, we're finally, we listen to comedians now, but it's like, who else can you trust? Can't trust Jake Tapper. Can't trust oh my God, what's his name? Can't trust dude with the goatee on MSNBC. I can't remember his name. Can't trust
Chuck Todd.
Yeah, can't trust him. Can't trust David Muir. Can't trust these people, man. Because the thing is that they're stenographers for the empire. Because they've been pushing the propaganda of the empire. And when you look at sorry, go ahead.
Mainstream media is dying. So it was just announced today that CNN is closing their Atlanta headquarters. I've actually been to that headquarters there in Atlanta. Yeah, I was on vacation there in Atlanta, and I went to that headquarters. That's where the hotel was. It was actually huge, like the Atlanta one at least. They're closing their headquarters. Mainstream media is dying, people.
It's dying.
This is why they're trying to crush. Why do you guys think they had to put them on YouTube to help them get views? Because people don't want to watch CNN anymore. People don't want to watch MSNBC anymore. They got Russiagate wrong. Why would people continue to trust them?
Yep. And then even when Bernie was running, they actually kept going against him and actually kept propping up people like Joe Biden. They rather prop up Joe Biden, and you can see it in the questioning and the narrative. You can see it in just the way they would, purse things and the narrative that they were painting. They're always against the people. And so you can't. Yeah, Sabby's right.
Yeah, it's huge. That one in Atlanta, there's escalators in that building. It's huge. So if they're closing that headquarters, I can bring up the article later, Jaybe. But what is this guy's tell? Listen, pay attention to what's going on. Don Lemon got removed from a prime time spot to the morning show. Now, for those that come from the broadcasting field, that's called a demotion. I don't care what Don Lemon's saying. The morning shows never get as many views as the primetime shows. So they demoted dude. He just don't want to admit it. Look, they're getting rid of people. They've been firing people, laying people off. They don't know what to do with Jake Tapper. They done moved him around so many different times. They had new management come in because the ratings are so bad. This is a big wake-up call to people. I'm trying to tell you, mainstream media is dying.
Dying. Yep.
Let me go ahead with the
To what we're dealing with. Does that frustrate you as an intellectual and as a professor? Because suddenly you're in the same room with someone who doesn't read books. You're in the
read. You can stop without saying
right. Who doesn't read exactly. And so and to the public, there's no difference. So on the one hand, you're put next to someone who might have a PhD, say in finance, or just hypothetically, who doesn't read about black folk, but calls himself a black scholar. We'll call him Boyce, right?
I have to ask you, Jaybe, about this statement here where they're saying you're in rooms with people who don't read. Because my thing is, just because they're...
I'm sorry. I can't hear you over the books that I have. I'm sorry. I can't hear you. Wait. Asada Shakur, I can't hear you. Michael Party, I can't hear you. Blood and Mad by George Jackson. I just can't. I can't hear you.
That's so classist, Jaybe. That's so classist. Just be like, oh yeah, you're in rooms with people who don't read. Just because someone, is reading social media, that doesn't mean they're not reading books. And I don't like it. I don't like this whole, this elite system, the black elite. I don't like this elitist shit.
Yeah. Look, here's the thing. Just because I don't read their books doesn't mean I'm not reading anything by, let's say, Margaret Kimberly. I could be reading something by Dr. Cornel West. I could be reading something, by Glenn Ford. I may not be reading your books, but I'm definitely reading. And also, while we're at it, just because someone doesn't necessarily read books doesn't mean that they're wrong about their experience in the world. A lot of us have actually stepped away from capitalism because of the experience that we've had because of capitalism. Now, we may have not picked up a book in order to learn how to concentrate our focus when it comes to reading, and that's okay because we can get there. But a lot of us are now observing and seeing what it does to us, and we're saying, you know what? This system ain't for us. And so then somebody goes, hey, this person is saying the exact same thing. Like, for instance, you'll point to a book and be like, hey, George Jackson says exactly what you say. You may want to pick up his book and read it so that you get more of a historical analysis of what's going on. But just because somebody's not reading books, now you're insulting a lot of people's intelligence and saying that they're too dumb to even be able to recount some facts that they learned. And it's also, and let's be real, it's also ableist.
It's really messed up. I mean, just because you have a PhD doesn't mean you know everything, and this mindset is very troubling. Let me go back in.
And
Educated fools.
You got the person who just Googles stuff, right? Then you got the person who just makes stuff up and who's just engaged in kind of demagoguery, right? Then you got the white person pretending to be black on the internet with a fake profile pic. And all these people are in the same room and y'all are having a debate about whether a vaccine works. You're having a debate about, the origins of civilization. You're having a debate about, God's sake, Willie Lynch, like it's 1992, right? And all this stuff is happening in a space and people can't tell the difference between you and them.
It is astonishing. You've summed it up so powerfully, and it's frustrating and it is bewildering because you said.
I have to chime in here and say, when Marc Lamont says that people can't tell the difference between him and them, first of all, why are you separating the two? Okay. If it's about the struggle, we should all be on board for fighting the struggle, right? And then two, I think we all can tell the difference between someone like Michael Eric Dyson and the people he's referring to, he says the people who don't read. And I say this, we can tell the difference between them because you always there to remind us how many books you wrote, your PhD, your academic background, your elite status. What do you mean we can't tell the difference? Of course we can tell the difference when you're sitting up here telling people I'm in a room with people who don't read. Don't be so smart and so intelligent that you feel that you cannot even hear from people who don't have the same academic credentials as you do. Okay, so let's be very clear here. And I've been on both sides, so I want to make a statement. I want people to really understand this. When you go to people in the hood with this type of rhetoric, you're going to lose people. People are not going to be willing to take you in and listen to what you have to say. You don't talk down to people. You don't reach people by talking down to them. You don't reach people by talking at them. And this type of mindset, whether it's Michael Eric Dyson, whether it's Marc Lamont, it's more so Michael Eric Dyson in this clip here. This type of mindset, this type of mentality that you are better than because you have these academic credentials. This is part of the reason why people who are part of the working class and people who are poor are not given a voice, because they're looked down upon because they don't have the academic credentials. So what? You have a PhD. Guess what, Michael Eric Dyson? I taught those kids who got those PhDs. So I may not have a PhD next to my name, but I was there advising them to help them get those PhDs. You know, these letters, they don't mean as much as you think. It's just another thing to have behind your name. And what does it mean? What good does it do if you're not actually talking to the people in the community? If you don't know their plight, you don't know their struggle. So what? You got a degree. Whoop-de-fucking-do for you. What have you done since you got that degree to help out the people that were left behind? That's my question.
Mm-hmm. You know, Sabby, I'm going to say this. And you know how we talk about we've changed. I know CJ, Nick, Rome, they talk about how they changed from the past. About 10, 15 years ago, I would have been eating everything that Michael Eric Dyson up. Everything he said, I would have ate up. Because I was one of those black dudes that said, man, if y'all just pull up your pants and presented yourself well, then maybe, just maybe, you guys wouldn't be targeted by police, and maybe, just maybe, you guys be respected more by people within professional spaces. I used to be that guy. I was that dude until I realized that dudes that looked like Farnsworth Bentley were also getting shot by police. That dudes that look like, you know, that dudes that look like Marc Lamont Hill were getting shot by police. They look like him, and they're still getting shot by police. They're still getting discriminated against. They're still experiencing racism. So it stopped being about how you present yourself and started being about, okay, the system of white supremacy, the system of capitalism, the system of imperialism, that's the real issue. Because it doesn't matter if you're sagging your pants. The thing is that people are looking at you. It's a system of white supremacy and capitalism. And yet you have these people who claim the capitalism because they feel like it's the only way that we can actually lift ourselves up. And then on top of it, because they have the same opinion that a lot of white supremacists have, well, maybe if you just did this, and maybe you just follow the way we do that. And guess what? You're using this elitist type of talking points, and then you get mad at us for not wanting to listen to you. It's like, bruh, you're looking down on us. This is literally looking down your nose at people, at working people, especially working and poor black folk.
It's terrible. This is absolutely terrible. Let him go on.
We spent years studying, reading, going to the library where the lives are buried.
First of all, I'm about to do what he's done to others to him. Listen to what he just said. We spend years reading and studying. Not everybody can afford to go to college to get a PhD. PhD is 5 to 7 years easily, guys, in the United States. UK, 3 years, right? So 5 to 7 years. Not everyone can afford that. Not everyone can afford to go to undergrad. Not everyone can afford to go to grad school. And yes, you can get some type of a stipend to get a PhD, but not everyone is afforded that. Not everyone has the access that you may have had, Michael Eric Dyson. Then he goes on to say, we went to the library. It's library. Now, see, if someone of lower class would have said it that way, Michael Eric Dyson would have picked on it. But it's okay for him to say it that way because he got a PhD. He don't want none. He don't want none, Jaybe. You know he wouldn't come on here. Let's go.
No.
Figuring out how to think, looking at methodologies, taking classes about the difference between deconstruction and demythologization, and the difference between Du Boisian, double consciousness and Hooksian notions of feminist pedagogy. God darn, what was the point? If the point is you can get in the room and just talk trash. I see people on Twitter debating lawyers and professionals. Oh, no, that ain't what gonna happen. Gonna see what happened to Gunner. Bro, have you been to court? Do you know what it is? Now, that doesn't mean that we have a philosophical fallacy, a logical fallacy. The notion that because you have a PhD, therefore you can't be challenged. That ain't what we're saying. We're saying let us get in the room and do what we do. Think, critically engage, parse competing evidences, look at those facts and see what emerges of, quote, the truth. That ain't what we're doing, though. What we're doing is, like you said, we're putting people in a room, they got ideas and opinions, and they feel equally compelled, and they don't feel a sense of deference and a sense of recognition or reverence for the kind of scholarship that you and I wield. It is astonishing, and not only that—
Stop it. Okay. Number one, he's pissed off that we don't have the same reverence for these professionals like lawyers that we don't have anymore. I'm going to tell you something right now. Who is mostly in government right now? Lawyers. How many poor people are out there in the streets? How many people that have a ton of student debt right now? How many people are hungry? How many wars do we have going on right now? This is because we have lawyers running the government. This is because we have these professionals running the government. These are the people that have all the opulence. These are the people that have the degrees, that are also the capitalists, that are literally tearing our world apart. So you want us to have a deference for the people who are literally exploiting us? I'm sorry, but guess what? The fucks that I have to give, they're gone, because I don't care about these people because they have no compassion. They have no empathy. They have no kindness. So therefore, they do not garner any respect from us because they do not display it to the most disenfranchised among us. Because they look down on us because we don't read. Here's the thing. Get some empathy, get some compassion, and maybe, just maybe, we'll actually start to listen to you. God, this guy's elitism is pissing me off.
Let me make something to add to this point as well. He listed all these things that he studied in school. He was like, we learned about feminist pedagogy. I'm sorry, but for people who are poor and people who are working class, that doesn't mean anything to them, bruh. Learning about feminist pedagogy, it does not help them pay their bills. That doesn't help them put food on the table. If you got a $400 electric bill, are you sitting back thinking, man, I wonder about this feminist pedagogy? No, you're trying to figure out how you're going to pay your bills. This shit, all this theory stuff, I have to be really clear about this. The theory, I'm not saying you shouldn't read theory. You should read theory. Yeah. But what I am saying is, at the end of the day, does that help you pay your damn bills? No, it does not. It just, what? And then you got to think about the people who are working 2 jobs. Think about the people working 2 jobs, 3 jobs, that are single mom or single dad. When do they have time to sit up there and read all of those books that he's talking about?
Yeah. Look what Soul Construct said. Let me see. Do I buy a book or buy food?
Right. And then what are the books that he wants you to read? Because Are they books with a certain narrative? Because let's be real. You're going to K through 12. If anything, you got to go through K through 12, right? By law. So you're attending school K through 12. And you are reading books during that time. You're reading the books that are assigned to you to read that are on the curriculum, the school curriculum, right? Are those books always truthful? Do those books tell the whole story? Because the history books definitely don't tell you the whole story about Martin Luther King. We talked about this a couple days ago.
Sure.
Saul said his book. Saul said he wants to read his book. Oh boy, let me go on.
Yeah.
It's bewildering, but it's devastating and dangerous to the process of American democracy, I would argue.
Wow.
Does it hurt your ego ever the comments that you have to read, the debates you get in where suddenly, you know, people again who may not actually measure up. And I'm not talking about the degrees and the elitism kind of approach. I'm talking about people who simply don't know enough to be in the conversation. And when people choose them over you or
hold up. Freudian slip. I'm not talking about the degrees and the elitism. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Because that's exactly what this is. This is elitism. And this is saying, look at me. I got the degrees. I should be the one to speak. You know what the beautiful part about the internet is? The beautiful part about being online like this is that it now gives us the ability to actually make our voices just as loud as theirs. We don't have to campaign to get on these corporate media sites in order for our voices to be heard anymore. We don't have to be cherry-picked and gate-kept by them. So now the people who would typically benefit from the gatekeeping of corporate media, they are now mad because our voices are getting louder. And because our voices are getting louder, especially the voices of working and poor people, now they are getting upset and saying, these people you guys shouldn't listen to. But here's the problem. Y'all haven't been listening to us for years. So now guess what? We're talking and more people are listening to us because there's more of us.
I want to add too, Jaybe, did you notice how he said people that don't know enough to be in the conversation? Well, I want to push back on that because see, that's a mask off moment. To say that this is exactly what he really saying to you. If he feel you don't know enough about the subject, you shouldn't be in the conversation at all. And to that, I say to this, when you first go to school, whether it's kindergarten, when you're going into kindergarten, then you go to first grade, second grade, third grade. In the beginning, do you know enough to do the work? No, you're taught how to do it. Do you know enough about the subject areas in the beginning at first? No, you don't. But you learn just by being there. You learn by showing up. You learn by being a part of the conversation. So this is some idiotic crazy. This is crazy what he just said. Don't know enough to be a part of the conversation. So you only want to talk to people who are in your academic bubble?
Where's that gotten us?
for me or whoever, right? I mean, is there a way that do you ever take it personally?
Oh yeah, it hurts because I can't take it doggily because I'm a person. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I take it canonically. You know, the canine. No. Yeah, it hurts because you have invested your life blood into trying to marshal facts against white supremacists who were doing what now black people are doing on the blogosphere. What black people are doing on the blogosphere is what white supremacists did 50 years ago. Make up stuff, don't read no books, project their own ideology, look at their frailty, fragility, and fear, and project that onto you. Dog, the blogosphere, the social media is a kind of algorithmic approximation of white supremacist bigotry 60 years ago. And
I heard a lot of big words without him really saying anything. He really just compare black people being on social media to white supremacy?
Yes, he did.
Jaybe.
Yes, he did. That's a huge insult to many of us who are really speaking to the needs of Black people and those of us who are speaking to the needs of Black liberation. And he basically called us or equated us to white supremacists. This is Black liberalism. This is why we call it out. It's kind of hard for white people on the left to do it because you get tagged as a racist. So that's why it falls upon people like me, Sabby, CJ, Nick, and Rome to really, flesh that out. But this is Black liberalism, and this is dangerous because it basically says, don't listen to your fellow workers. Only listen to the elites and what we tell you. And if we tell you to follow this Black capitalist motive, then this is where you need to go. And they're saying that we're no longer the intellectuals in the room, and they're mad about it.
Rashad the Great brought up an interesting point. He said they're mad that Tariq Nasheed and Jason Black are being listened to more than them.
Maybe if they said something that really resonated with poor and working Black folks, then maybe they would get listened to more. But they don't. That actually says a lot, right?
That's a big part of it. That's a big part of it. I mean, people want to, every now and then people want to hear from people who understand their experience. I mean, but Michael Eric Dyson, like, yeah, you Black, but do you understand what it's like to be working class? Do you understand what it's like to be poor? Like, do you understand like what it's like to be that today? Not what it was like to be that like 30 years ago. What it's like to be that way today.
Yeah. And sprinkling in, those old AAVE terms like dog once in a while is not going to get you in just to make us feel like we're more akin to you. Maybe Ethernet says, I'm still stuck on read a book. Yeah, me too. Like, for real, bro.
She's Black said it's not just them anymore.
Yeah.
All right, I'll finish this up.
Sure.
And so when you think about it, God darn, it's an unjust game. So yeah, it hurts because I'm trying to defend people, and then people come up to me and Dr. So-and-so, just call me Michael. That's good, because God darn, you got all these people with these self-anointed doctorates and stuff, and these Hotep hooligans who are out here, marshaling and manufacturing facts and acting like they're doing what they do. And I'm saying, like, bro, let me just sit my study, write my books, and do what I got to do. And hopefully the cycle comes back around.
Did you just hear the class divide there, JB? Sit in my study and write my books.
Sit in your study. I wish I had a study with one of them old timey globes, a nice, cherry wood desk, and the leather chair with the metal, with the brass studs in it. Maybe have, a nice little bar with some scotch. Maybe open up one of my cigars once in a while. It smells like cigar smoke in there. I have books everywhere all behind me. Maybe I can have that, but unfortunately, I'm poor. Why? Because we live in a capitalist system that is perpetuated by white supremacy, and for some odd reason, listening to you hasn't changed anything. So I guess I'm going to listen to people who are more like me, who actually want to provide a more revolutionary discourse in order for us to be able to get to where we need to as a people. What do I know, though, right? I'm not college educated. I never had a day in college. And yet, I'm learning as I go, and I'm learning from people who actually have the experience.
I'll be honest, like I have a master's degree and I'm still embarrassed by the things that they've been saying this whole time. It's embarrassing. It really is. It just, oh man.
It's a merry-go-round. So hopefully our turn comes again where facts, where study, where scholarship, where serious engagement are involved. And here's the irony.
Serious
People
engagement.
Like you and me and Cornell West and Bell Hooks before, with him and Skip Gates to a certain degree, we were already getting dissed. Oh, y'all a bunch of public intellectuals. You ain't serious. We're already facing it from within. Now,
did he criticize Cornell West?
Bruh.
He said we already getting criticism, but he's one of the people who criticized Cornell West. What is he talking about?
Bruh. It's coming from inside the house, bruh. The noise is coming from inside the house, bruh. What did we just watch earlier? Mike. Bruh.
Oh my God, I can't.
Did you plug it in yet? Finish it.
I'll finish it.
I want to turn to some of those Negroes and go, how you like it now? Now you done created a whole generation of people who don't damn read, who disrespect the work we did because we made it look easy.
Amen. Doc.
Horrible.
Pull your pants up.
Horrible. You created a whole generation of people who don't read. We got a lot of super chats, JB, if we want to go through those. I'm sorry you guys had to witness that because I see some of the people in the chat are like, oh my God. Like
somebody need to get their uncle, somebody need to get their cousin. Oh Jesus, somebody need to get their uncle and their cousin, man. Let me tell you. All right. wait. Foam Linton says, "Oh man, yes, at cloud service." Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh God. Wait. All right. Mr. Fly said, thank you for the super chat. Says, reading and comprehension are two different things. As an educator, Sabby and Jaybe, is that true?
Yes. In fact, some schools actually call the course reading, writing, and comprehension, or reading and comprehension.
Mm-hmm. Radical leftist extremist says, I'm excited about recent artificial intelligence information, but also horrified about how most jobs can be stolen by it. Can we do an episode on that? That would be interesting. Because the thing is that, as far as capitalism is concerned, yes, it would be stolen and it would subject people to be more impoverished versus if it were in a more egalitarian, socialist / communist society, then it would actually give us more room to have all of our needs would still be met, but at the same time, we actually have less, more time to actually do what we want to do versus actually slaving and working. So that's a good, that'll be something cool. Let me see. The vegan Raph says Malcolm X doesn't have a degree, and we hit would have embarrassed both of them in any debate. Oh, I don't think Malcolm X did ever go to college.
I don't think so.
No, he just studied while he was in prison.
He was in prison, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Coca-Cola says Mark and Mike, each one teach one. We don't learn by condescension. Thank you. All right. Yanina Israel said, thank you for the super chat. Says that pretend intelligence house in hasn't read any books I have. Lab 257, Dr. Mary's Monkey, the book by Ken Alibek, and probably has never picked up Confessions of an Economic Hitchman. The rhythms won't let me say more. The algorithm won't let me say more. Okay. Thank you so much, though. Appreciate it. All right. And Bryant Andrews, thank you so much. Says, and you are advocating for the working class and oppressed. like Malcolm, Martin, Ali, and Eldridge Cleaver. Well, Eldridge Cleaver isn't anymore, but he did back in the past, but not anymore. But yeah. I'm telling you, man, this was crazy.
But it's almost like they were saying the quiet part out loud. It's like, this is really what, not all of them, but this is really what some of the academic intellectuals think. That's what they believe. Like, if you don't have the same credentials as them, you really don't belong in that same space in the conversation with them. And even if you are there, you're really supposed to take their word because they're the ones that have, they have more degrees.
Yeah, but the thing is that, I mean, I don't think have they ever heard of the term educated fool? Because there's a lot of educated fools out there. And the thing is that just because you're educated doesn't mean that you actually are ones who are proficient at teaching people what's really going on. You could be educated in the propaganda and still keep teaching the propaganda, but that makes you a tool of the establishment. It doesn't make you somebody who actually teaches critical thought.
That's right. That's a good point, Jaybe. And then also too, there's different types of intelligence. There's musical intelligence, different types. And E Cosmos says what they don't get is we don't want them in the room.
And here's the funny part. They would look at somebody like Rome and say something like that about him, even though I say Rome is extremely, immensely intelligent. Not only does Rome can rock in the spaces like us, but he also has street smarts too. And he can also rock in spaces where they can't survive.
That's right.
So who's the intelligent one, right? We have to stop getting this intellectual book read intelligence and saying this is more superior. There are different types of intelligence. It's just like the people who will talk smack about people who are neurodivergent and say, well, they have a disability. Is it really a disability, or is it just a different way of thinking? Is it just a way of thinking that we just haven't figured out yet, right? But yet you have some people that'll look at somebody that's neurodivergent and then they'll look at them and look down their nose. When in reality, people who are neurodivergent are actually more proficient at certain things than we are, who are neurotypical. But the thing is that you can't keep doing this because you're literally alienating a certain set of Black people and saying, no, you're not the right kind of Black person. Like, who does that?
I'm gonna share this right here for people who are wondering what the types of intelligence are.
Oh, sure. Sounds good.
8 types of intelligence: logical, mathematic intelligence, linguistic intelligence, spatial intelligence, musical intelligence, bodily kinesthetic intelligence, intrapersonal intelligence, interpersonal intelligence, naturalistic intelligence. There's different types of intelligence.
Yeah. And the thing is that one of the problems, especially with our education system, is the curriculum doesn't demand that we teach the way kids learn. So there's no such thing as a stupid child. No such thing. All children can be geniuses. All children can be brilliant. It's just, are we adapting the way they learn? This is why some kids have to drop out of school, but yet they end up becoming prodigies at other things. Why? Because they have intelligence. It's just our systems, which are perpetuated by capitalists, don't teach the way kids learn. And the thing is that that's one of the reasons why you have some kids that don't read, because it's hard for them to. I hated reading growing up. I detested reading. I still get exhausted with reading sometimes, but I do it because I like it more now at 38 than I did at 28. But I had to grow into that. But I could listen and learn from different, maybe visual and auditory things, and that actually helped me. But that's the problem, man. Just this elitism. It kills me. Brian Andrews, thank you so much for the super chat. Says, oh wait, sorry, I read that already. Yeah, this one. Brian Andrews says, what are they're advocating for is to be the HNIC.
Yep.
The men I mentioned came from the people, not the corporations. Thank you so very much for that. And I'm gonna get to some of this in the. I'm gonna get some of the comments in Rockfin too, really quick, just to make sure before we get going, because we got to go in a second.
Yeah, I
As
have
I'm
to
watching
dip
it.
off, but I wanted to get Justin really quick because he just sent this one. Thanks for the super
Go ahead.
chat, Justin. Love this conversation. So many great points. I do have to dip though because I have a new guest, so
Okay.
I got to get ready.
Okay, Sabs. Mhm. All right. So, yeah, thanks for. You can go ahead. I'm just gonna read a couple of these on Rockfin. And then
Yeah, I was just gonna tell
I'll head
people
out.
about tonight. So Shama Sawan is coming on tonight, you guys. On my channel in about 30 minutes. I have two guests tonight. I have Camilla's coming on to talk about California reparations, two news stories, and then Shama Sawan is coming on to give a pretty huge announcement. So don't miss that. I got a jet. Peace out.
All right. See you later, Sabs. Be sure. Bye. Great combo. All right. And so be sure to tune in to Sabby in about 30 minutes. So on her channel, she'll be having on those guests. I am excited. That's going to be amazing. So let's go to Rockfin and finish this up. Kiana says, this guy, is he a coon? Oh, Lord, Kiana. Oh, Lord. Declan Rockfin says, keeping people in the Tuskegee oppression. Did you see Moderna and Moderna CEO Foundation gave $500,000 to the Embrace Gala to celebrate that Freemasonic occultic MLK Embrace sculpture, and Embrace Boston 501c3 is gentrifying Nubian Square neighborhood with 2 life sentences Moderna buildings. Wow. Declan Roffin continues, says, Embrace Boston Roxbury Cultural Center includes 2 life sentence buildings, and Moderna, a Benso Foundation are listed in the $250,000 sponsor section. That's one way to buy Black support for Moderna to gentrify an African-American neighborhood, pimping MLK. Ooh. Do you think that Moderna will be using Boston's Black residents as genetic engineering test subjects at the Embrace Center in Nubian Square, considering how many people are dying within a few days of their injection, their jab? A little creepy, this amazing generosity for a headless MLK sculpture. That's interesting. Dave Burt, good to be here. Hi, Sabs and Jaybe. Hello, Dave Burt. Declan Rothman says, I'm wondering, do folks read? Because NAACP gave an Image Award to Dick Gregory's book, Defining Moments in Black History, which explains evidence of how CIA killed Malcolm X from the balcony, and no one ever mentions that it's now published. Fact, HarperCollins. So I don't think they read it. I don't think so either. Thank you very much, Declan Rothman. Man, this has been interesting. So yeah, you got to go, but the elitism needs to stop, and I'm glad that there's a lot of us now that are actually going and saying, you know what, nah, we're not down with this. We don't need this type of elitism. We actually need more working class solidarity, especially among Black people, in order to get ourselves to a point of liberation. So, and if they're going to gatekeep, then let them gatekeep to a place where there's nobody there, because ain't nobody want to go in there. They're just going to be gatekeeping an empty lot, and that's all it's going to be. And that's fine with me, because the thing is that we got places to go. We got to do better things with our lives, rather than just be intellectually gate kept. We have actual working class victories that we need to get to, because we can't keep doing this. It's just crazy. Anyway, there is my channel, and also Sabby's channel is also linked in the description. Look, water your plants, water yourselves, leave the world better than you found it. Make it do what it do, baby. And thanks for everybody for all the super chats. Thanks for to the patrons on Patreon, as well as thank you to all the people who support us. So be sure to watch Sabby Sabs and Sabby's RBN show tomorrow night at 6 p.m. as well as her channel again on 8. And also, I think CJ will be on tomorrow. So make sure to get on to see CJ tomorrow here on RBN. You guys have yourself a wonderful evening. Mwah! Nighty night.